It appears that in spite of all the riots happening in LA, nearly 1 million immigrants have self-deported back to their home country. And it looks like the Democrats got exactly what they want. Kilmar Garcia was brought back to America. Let's get into it. So hello again, and thank you so much for joining me today on the Community Ledger. I am going to hop right into it. So everyone has been talking about all these riots happening in LA. You've got all these Democrats and liberals pushing back on the Trump's deportation efforts. And in spite of all that chaos, it appears that over, or almost, shall I say, 1 million migrants have opted to self-deport. And so it looks like the New York Post has gone ahead and written an article detailing exactly what has happened with all of these migrants. So it says here, nearly 1 million immigrant migrants have self-deported under Trump, which has led to higher wages. While ICE arrests and deportations have grabbed headlines, President Trump is also running a separate but complementary mass deportation program, one that encourages aliens here unlawfully to go home voluntarily. So now, if you remember, I did a video a couple weeks ago where I spoke about where he was giving $1,000 per family or per adult in that family to go back to their home country. If they chose to voluntarily deport, they would be given that stipend, and they would also be given an opportunity to come back to America legally. This was, quite controversial, but overall, the White House stated that this would save American tax dollars a lot of money if we opted to do it this way versus sending ICE into the shadows of America and trying to retrieve these people from their workplaces and things of that nature, especially people with families. We didn't want to see a lot of families separated, children separated from their parents. So this was an alternative to where they could go back home safely. We would provide, when I say we, America would provide the flights, and they would get $1,000 stipend to get back on their feet in their home country. And then when the dust settles, they would have an opportunity to come back to America legally, which I thought was an incredible option. Now, with all of those who Trump who did not self-deport, as you can see, those numbers are continuing to go up and up and up. So he has raided so many different employers with regards to getting these migrants out. And what we see happening is that it looks like American wages are going up, which is incredible for American citizens. So once those jobs are now free for American citizens, they can now work. And so, like I stated when I was having a conversation about this earlier, if Trump has put in new legislation to where able-bodied Americans are not going to be able to be on, say, SNAP or food stamps or Section 8 and things of that nature long term, and he wants to give them an opportunity to work, here it is. Okay, now that we're getting all of these illegals out of the country, that creates opportunities for Americans to work and stand on their own 2 feet. To me, that is the epitome of American first. That is the epitome of prioritizing American citizens, which is exactly what he was elected to do. And so I'm going to go ahead and continue with regards to what they're speaking about in terms of the wages. And if reports are correct, that plan is more successful than anyone could have imagined. Based on government data, my organization, the Center for Immigration Studies, has conservatively estimated there are about 15.4 million illegal aliens in the United States, a 50% increase over the 4 tumultuous years of the Biden administration. 15.4 million illegal aliens in the United States, a 50% increase over the 4 years in the Biden administration. So obviously, Biden did a number in allowing these people to come in unvetted, without any sort of ramifications. And I'll continue. There's no surprise given how Biden and his Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas ignored congressional detention mandates and ushered millions of illegal immigrants into the United States. Trump rode a wave of concerns about the cost those migrants are imposing on schools, hospitals, housing, and essential government services in cities and towns across the United States to a second term. Now that he's back in office, it's up to him and his border czar and the Secretary Christy Nome to drive the unauthorized population down and restore credibility in our immigration system. And so there you have it. Washington Post. I'm sorry, I keep saying Washington Post. New York Post has written an article about the mass amount of people who have opted to just go legally. So that to me shows you that Trump is making real headway, because when they first rolled this out, it wasn't a lot of people talking about it. They were like, listen, we not going, we trying to stay. And they were just like, Trump can come try to get us. But with this plan in play, they like, okay, we know this ain't gonna work. Trump is not playing. We gonna be hauled off to some sort of El Salvadorian prison. We gonna be held without food, medicine, etc. This is not the way to do it. So he gave them an incentive to do it the right way, which I'm happy about. Also, we have to discuss Kilmar Garcia. So now you remember Kilmar Garcia was the gentleman that was the father in Maryland that all the Democrats were going crazy over. They were demanding that he be brought back to America. Remember that? And so they were saying he's a law-abiding citizen. He's a good person, not a citizen, sorry. He's a law-abiding alien or migrant. Okay, he is not a criminal, even though he had MS-13 tattoos all over. They said there was nothing that signified that he actually did anything criminal, even though a judge stated so. But I digress. They were going crazy. They were all trying to fly over to El Salvador and meet with this man, bring him back. Well, it appears that the Democrats got exactly what they requested. Okay, they have now brought Kilmar Garcia back to the United States. And you know what? They are actually charging him. He has now been indicted on trafficking charges. Yes. So he came from El Salvador. The president of El Salvador released him into American custody, and he is now in jail, headed to prison. Okay. And so Pam Bondi stated that once he serves his time here in America, then he will be deported back to El Salvador's prison. But I'm going to let her tell you exactly what he is being convicted of or indicted for. All of the crimes that the Democrats said that he was not guilty of. A judge in I think it was either Tennessee or Kentucky. We're gonna get into it. She's gonna tell you exactly where it was. But a judge found this man accused of a multitude of crimes. I mean, not a good person by any stretch of the imagination. But I want you to hear exactly what she said so that you can clearly understand what the Democrats were fighting for and what they were trying to bring back into America, into our communities for political gain. Let's get into it. Okay, so here it is. I'm going to get into it. I want you to hear exactly what Pam Bondi is stating and what these judges are stating are accusations of Mr. Kilmar Garcia and who our elected officials were trying to bring back and implant into our communities. Okay, let's take a look. Let's listen.
We're here today to announce a major update in an important case. Abrego Garcia has landed in the United States to face justice. On May 21st, a grand jury in the Middle District of Tennessee returned a sealed indictment charging Abrego Garcia with alien smuggling and conspiracy to commit alien smuggling in violation of Title 8 U.S.C. 1324. We want to thank President Bukele for agreeing to return Abrego Garcia to the United States. Our government presented El Salvador with an arrest warrant, and they agreed to return him to our country. We're grateful to President Bukele for agreeing to return him to our country to face these very serious charges. This is what American justice looks like. Upon completion of his sentence, we anticipate he will be returned to his home country of El Salvador. The grand jury found that over the past 9 years, Abrego Garcia has played a significant role in an alien smuggling ring. They found this was his full-time job, not a contractor. He was a smuggler of humans and children and women. He made over 100 trips, the grand jury found, smuggling people throughout our country. MS-13 members, violent gang terrorist organization members throughout our country.
Now, let me just pause it there for a second. So you hear this. This man took over 100 trips smuggling MS-13 gang members, other criminals, women and children into the country. And you already know what happens with regards to the cartel and women and children when they make that journey to the States. This man facilitated it, made money doing it, and is, just making this is his full-time job. He has made money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, getting people here in America, all kinds of people, not vetted, criminals, his gang, Conrads, et cetera, et cetera. And this is who American elected officials were trying to get back. Okay, they're talking about he deserves due process and he needs to be brought to America and he needs to be put back into the community in Maryland. That is a disgrace. It was a disgrace then. And now that all of this is coming out, it's even more of a disgrace because it was a grand jury who indicted this man on all of these charges. But I'm going to go ahead and continue. There's more. There's more.
Thousands of illegal aliens were smuggled. This is especially disturbing because Abrego Garcia is also alleged with transporting minor children. The defendant traded the innocence of minor children for profit. There are even more disturbing facts that the grand jury uncovered. It is alleged this defendant is part of the same smuggling ring responsible for the death of more than 50 migrants in 2021 after the tractor trailer overturned in Mexico. This is part of that same ring.
So while smuggling a bunch of people in America, 50 people died in that process. And I guess they just brush them aside and keep it moving and bring the next truckload. This is what kind of person this is. This is what kind of man, okay, that elected officials were trying to bring back into America. That is treasonous. They need to be criminalized for defending and kicking up dust and using American tax dollars to bring this type of criminal back into our communities. This is disgraceful.
The defendant abused undocumented alien females, according to co-conspirators who were under his control while transporting them throughout our country. This defendant trafficked firearms and narcotics throughout our country on multiple occasions. They were using vehicles, SUVs, with added seats in the back, floors that had been ripped out, guns, narcotics, children, women, MS-13 members. That is what the grand jury found. A co-conspirator alleged that the defendant solicited nude photographs and videos of a minor. A co-conspirator also alleges the defendant played a role in the murder of a rival gang member's mother.
Do you hear this? Do you hear this? Now, I'm going to go ahead and say alleged because he has not been proven guilty yet. He is going to face his day in court. But thus far, he has been indicted on all of these allegations. And they brought him back just so that he could go through the court system, get his due process, and be criminalized properly. Okay? He is accused of unaliving a rival gang member's mother. Now, remember, the Democrats said there was no proof that he was an MS-13 gang member. He out here unaliving folks. Okay? Okay? And soliciting pornography, soliciting underage photographs, children's photographs, selling them. Like, are you serious? Like, this man has no limits. He's trafficking guns, trafficking children, trafficking women, trafficking gang members, and selling pornography. Unaliving people. This is a deplorable human being. And this is who America's elected officials wanted to fight to bring back to America, to bring back.
These facts demonstrate Abrego Garcia is a danger to our community. We want to thank the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, our state and local partners, our acting U.S. Attorney Robert McGuire, and prosecutors from the Joint Task Force, Vulcan. Questions?
Attorney General. Attorney General, the traffic stop that we've seen video.
So I'm gonna go ahead and stop it right there because they're speaking about the 50 people who were unalived or lost their lives en route to America being smuggled. So yes, they've got co-conspirators, they've got witnesses, they've got victims of his trafficking, victims of his abuse while on the trafficking trail, who are going to be testifying, and a judge and you know, a jury of his peers. I don't know where to get these people to do indictments, but nonetheless, a whole lot of people gathered together and said, listen, there's enough evidence here to indict this man. Go ahead, sign off on it. The president of El Salvador said, okay. The president of El Salvador already knew what it was. That's why he wasn't trying to release him to begin with. When all them people went over there trying to free him, the president of El Salvador was like, please sit down somewhere. I am not releasing this man. I know a criminal when I see one. I already know what his background is about. I ain't releasing him nowhere. Okay. And so even he came over here and, Trump was like, listen, he don't want to give him back. And I don't think Trump was trying to get him because Trump was like, listen, it's out of my jurisdiction. Rightfully so. But now we got reason. Okay. So you killed two birds with one stone. Okay. You got Kilmar Garcia back. Okay. And you still got a criminal off the streets. So Trump, round of applause for him and his what's it called? What's the czar, the immigration czar? Tom Homan. That's the name I'm thinking about. Congratulations to him because they doing the damn thing. Okay. They said they was going after criminals. They going after criminals. The mainstream media and all the Democrats wanted to play on your emotions and make you feel like this was a law abiding citizen, that this was a good person, that this was a father who needed to be home with his children. But I'm gonna let you know right now, if he didn't went back and forth to the Rio Grande 100 times, he didn't give no damn about them kids. Okay. He would have been at home having dinner, but instead he was trafficking women. He was trafficking children. He was selling pornography. He was bringing in trafficking drugs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So based on the fact that he was indulged in this kind of criminal activity proves that he was not a family man. Okay. And so they played on your emotions. A whole lot of us could see through the propaganda a long time ago. And I am so glad that they went ahead and let it be out, let it be known, go ahead and let the public know exactly who your politicians are fighting for. Okay. So instead of fighting for American citizens so that they could have jobs, so that they could have safe neighborhoods, so that they could have safe housing, et cetera, these politicians were in El Salvador trying to bring this fool back. Okay. So listen, it's a new day. It's a new day. You have to start digging through what mainstream tells you because it's all lies, it's all propaganda, it's all BS. You got to take it for face value and do your own personal digging. Get on this internet, get on YouTube and hear what others have to say about it and just sit back and wait because the truth is going to be revealed. Okay. And with this, sir, this gentleman here, the truth has now been revealed. He was not a good person. He did not need to be in America. He came here illegally. He indulged in all kind of crimes. And now he done brought his ass back so that he can serve time here in our state penitentiary. And then when he finishes, he can go back to El Salvador and continue his sentence there. Okay, just to serve. Now, in regards to everything that's happening in LA and all the riots and all these people who are standing on the front lines going crazy, you might as well cut it out. You might as well sit down. You do not need to be putting your life in danger and creating chaos in your own neighborhoods for something that's inevitable. Okay, every president before Donald Trump was doing deportations. Don't let them fool you. Okay, Obama was doing them. Bush was doing them. Everybody, Obama was doing way more than Trump is doing right now. Okay, Trump is playing catch up compared to what Obama did. But again, when they want to paint a picture, they just want you to believe that this man has lost his mind. He's going crazy, and this is something we ain't never seen before. No, that's not the case. Okay, they're here illegally, and they're gonna be removed. Period. That's just what has to happen. Period. America does not have the resources to sit here and fund 15 million immigrants, however many, or 50% more immigrants than we usually have every year just because Biden and them wanted a new voter base. Because this is what this was all about. Okay. You do realize that this has nothing to do with Democrats really just caring about people and caring about, these people seeking asylum and wanting them to have a better life and a better opportunity. No. That's not what this is about. This is about creating a new voter base so that they can stay in power. Oh, yes. That diabolical. But nonetheless, what is your opinion now that you are seeing that over or almost 1 million people have self-deported, which proves what Trump is doing thus far is working? They getting scared. They getting up out of here. Okay. And two, how do you feel about the Democrats getting exactly what they wanted by bringing Kilmar Garcia back to serve his time in the States? I would love to continue this conversation in the comments. So if you have not already, please do share, like, and subscribe. And until next time, my name is Andrea Banu, and this is the Community Ledger. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and watch the next video by clicking right here.